There's so many different cultures in downtown Eastside that needs to be expressed. And music is the way to do it.
Heartsbeat is an annual event that happens in Vancouver's downtown east side, which is located on the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. It is a musical exploration of the shared traditions of drumming, dance, singing and storytelling between Indigenous and Irish cultures.
In Irish traditional music, the bodhrán is the heartbeat of Celtic music. And then Sam said, well, in our culture, it is the heartbeat of Mother Earth.
Heartsbeat has brought forth a positive spotlight on the downtown east side.
We were able to show the talents, the culture, the ancestry, the oral tradition, all of the pieces of which I think are really important to me as an Indigenous person.
Their culture is parallel to Indigenous people here in Canada.
The storytelling, oral traditions, the love of music and language. There are such similarities in all of our cultures and we need to remember that.
Play music really brings people together.
It means a lot. I can't say enough for that.
Are we on? Hello! Welcome to Heartsbeat Year 4. We're thrilled that you're joining us. Woo! 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 Woo!
Before we get started, I would like to do some very important work, and that is introducing you to Chief Bill Williams of the Squamish Nation. Hauchka.
Hathka Quail, Queen's North Thalasum Kingdom, Skohopmish. My ancestral name is Thalasum Kim. Siamp is a designation given to me by my family. The Indian Act has determined that that word is chief. I'm one of 16 hereditary chiefs of the Squamish Nation. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you for the good things you have in your heart today, because it's such a warm feeling to be here on the Downtown East Side Festival of Hearts, and to be able to welcome you on behalf of the three villages, the Skohopmish village, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam, the communities that are overlapping in the downtown east side. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you from Turtle Island, from Canada, to be able to go international to the wonderful things that we have from our village here in the downtown east side. We'd like to make sure that each and every one of you have good things in your heart and your mind, because we certainly have good things in our heart and in our minds to be able to pass on to you, so you're healthy and safety and have good things to move forward to in today's activities, and make sure that your Muntman, your children of your communities are safe and sound, and be able to know where they are, doing the good things that they should be doing, learning who they are and where they come from, because that's the teachings that we have from our communities, to make sure our Muntman know exactly who they are and where they come from, and know that the good things that the teachings bring forward are things that they cannot be or should not be ashamed of. They cannot be or should not be put down, because they have that teaching, because they have that knowledge. It is so important to be able to pass on that kind of teachings to all our children. And it really doesn't matter whether you're Indigenous or not. We all have to know the teachings of where we come from and who we are. I'd like to thank each and every one of you on behalf of the three communities, and have a blessed day today. Hoi chika.
Thank you, Chief Bill. What a wonderful note to start this event off, and how important it is to know who we are and where we come from, and that's what Heartsbeat is all about. I am Susie O'Shea. I work at the UBC Learning Exchange, and I am one of your hosts today. We are delighted to welcome you to the 4th annual Heartsbeat event. Heartsbeat is presented by the UBC Learning Exchange, the Indigenous programs at the Carnegie Community Centre, and supported by the wonderful folks at the Downtown Eastside Heart of the City Festival, the UBC Community University Engagement Support Fund, and the Irish Consulate in Vancouver. We were recently witness to an event called Land Speak back in March, which was a gathering of Indigenous and Irish voices. And at that event, James Kelly, one of the organisers and part of the Ireland Canada University Foundation, said these words that I thought really resonated for Heartsbeat. We are mindful in organising this event that the history and legacy of the encounter between Indigenous and Irish people has been mixed, and the triumph of Irish communities over the suffering and discrimination they faced on the shores of Ireland and elsewhere must be balanced against the role they've played and continue to play as settlers in the dispossession of Indigenous people and their lands. Heartsbeat is a celebration of the shared traditions of drumming, dancing and storytelling between Indigenous and Irish cultures. And while we celebrate shared traditions, Heartsbeat is about honouring and respecting each other's distinct cultures in caring and careful ways. At the heart of the city event in the Downtown East Side, at the heart of this event is the Downtown East Side. So we are thrilled to be part of the Heart of the City Festival. The festival's theme this year is Stories We Need to Hear. And at this event, we share stories through song, music, dance, and storytelling. Stories that were before forced underground, that were punished if we're told. So we are proud to share our stories today on stage, all the way over to Ireland, folks that are joining us live there, and to the festival. So thank you for being here, and seatbelts on. It's going to be a wonderful event, jam-packed. Over to you, Nicole.
Haida losses, Delong Elf Quat Logan. Nicole Bird, Hinu Dikang. Hello everyone, hello good people. I am so honored to be able to be here to share with you today Heartsbeats with my co-host Susie. I can't believe it's been 4 years. This is our 4th year of coming together to share Indigenous and Irish culture, song, music, dance, storytelling, and food. Now, today we have an action-packed day of many, many performances and storytelling. We're going to take you on a journey, a cultural journey, showing the parallels of the Indigenous and Irish peoples. We're very, very fortunate that we've come to be very close friends with Blake and Eilish of Kyola Boo. They've been so supportive in taking Lakshtilum along on the journey of learning more about Irish music and storytelling. We've also have Lakshtilum here today. Lakshtilum are part of the Carnegie Indigenous programs. They are the always singing drum group. Lakshtilum worked really hard to earn their name. We feasted the name. We had all 3 nations come and give us the honor to be able to hold the name and look after the name. So Lakshtilum, the always singing drum group, will be performing today. And what's really neat about Lakshtilum is that we are not all Indigenous within the group. We are Indigenous with many members from across the Turtle Island, but we do have some non-Indigenous peoples in the group too, who have come along with us to learn the histories, the stories, and the protocols around being able to sing the songs and look after them. So we'll be singing some songs today, and we also will have a little later on in the afternoon some giveaways, so don't leave. Don't leave whatever you do. We've got some amazing giveaways, some beautiful prizes, and we have some grand folks from the UBC Learning Exchange, Nick and Dion, who are over in our booth over there, ready to take names and answers. And we also will be ending off the afternoon with a mix of Irish and Indigenous music with Ceól Abú and Lakshtilum singing together. So please don't leave, join us and stay, and come along for an afternoon of fun and cultural sharing. Hawa, thank you.
Thank you. Right. So,
Okay, so
yeah.
I'm going to just exit to the stage. I'll be...
what school? Oh yeah. So we are over to Lakshtilum, and I also wanted to share just a little bit of origin story to Heartsbeat. We are very grateful to a man from Haida Drummers, Isaac, who really started the Heartsbeat journey. We had a number of Bowron workshops. So the Bowron is the Irish hand drum. And when Isaac saw the hand drum at the workshop, he was like, "Your drum looks like our drum." And so started the journey of Heartsbeat and that shared tradition of drumming. So a big shout out to Isaac today for what has become a very strong and long-lasting relationship between the Learning Exchange, between Kyola Boo and Lakshtilum and the Indigenous programs at the Carnegie, and one that just keeps growing from strength to strength. So, gur míle maith agat, Isaac. Okay, over to Lakshtilum.
Hello everyone, it's me, Nicole, again. I've changed. So I'm very honored. This is with Lakshtilum in front of you. We have a lot of folks here today. We have Mar, Stanley, Les, Priscilla, Tiffany, Raphael, Pat, Igor, and myself, Nicole. We are missing Sam and Louisa. They're both under the weather, and we're sending them prayers and thoughts for getting better. We're missing them today, but we are including them in our songs and our heart. Now, before we get started, we're going to be singing the Coast Salish Anthem. The Coast Salish Anthem is a song that was written by Chief Dan George and embraced by the 3 host nations to represent them in a good way. We have been gifted the opportunity to sing this song, and today we have Chief Bill Williams joining us, so it's even more special.
Lord.
Hoichka Haua to the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh peoples for allowing us to live, work, and play on their traditional lands. Haua. All right, the next song that we're going to be singing is the Four Directions. And we're very lucky because we're going to be singing the Four Directions with Kyola Boo. So, Kyola Boo, come on up. Did you want to join us or are you welcome to?
I don't know what's the
Okay. How- So, to introduce the Four Directions, I'd like to introduce to you the Carnegie Elder in Residence, Les Nelson.
Hello, my name is Leslie Nelson, Kwakwakwakwa, Guskaboo, Newholt. The Four Directions songs that we're singing comes from Okanagan, Smelkamy. It's sung from the late Glenn Douglas. We start from the east. Sing along, 3 words, away-ya-ho.
Away, That was amazing. Haida Kyola Boo, Haida Lakshtilum. That was a great way to start off this event. Haida to you both for joining us and singing at the front. All right, now I'm just going to pass it back to my co-host, Susie. Take it away, Susie.
Thanks, Nicole. Such an honor to sing. That was so special. Last year with COVID, we were 4 days away from hosting Heartsbeat in person, and then the world shut down. So it was very devastating to us that we couldn't host Heartsbeat. So last year we actually decided to do a virtual version instead as part of last year's Heart of the City Festival. So this year, just to sing together, we've been apart for a while, so to be able to sing together is just very, very special. I am honoured to welcome Vice Consul Adam Duffy. The General Consulate of Ireland in Vancouver have been beyond supportive of our work here and of Heartsbeat. We have done tons of work with Consul General Frank Flood, and we're just so grateful to all the team at the Consulate for your endless support. And a huge thank you to Eilish Courtney, member of Kyola Boo, who made that connection with us. So over to you, Adam.
Of Ireland here in Vancouver. The consulate is on the traditional territory of the Musqueam, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh nations, and we are eternally grateful for being able to live and work in this very beautiful part of the world. The consulate opened our new office in 2020, and due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, we missed a lot of the usual hallmarks of a consulate opening. So it wasn't until September this year, with the visit of the Ambassador to Ireland, Ambassador of Ireland to Canada, Dr. Eamonn McKee, who did our community reception as part of our official opening. The highlight of that event had to be the performance of the Heartsbeat drummers, which we just saw there, who did the Four Directions performance that we've just seen. And they had all attendants at that reception on their feet and participating. As a newly arrived Vice Consul this year, this was my first time seeing them perform, and I was really struck by how the traditional instruments used, in particular the Irish bodhrán and the traditional Indigenous drums, complemented each other and really melded well together. I feel like this is a really good example or metaphor about how our two communities and cultures are connected, with our shared love and focus of music, dance, storytelling and oral history. On behalf of the Irish community in BC and the Irish government, I would like to send you and all our friends in the downtown east side in the Carnegie Indigenous and Cultural Sharing programs our very best regards for the 2021 Heart of the City Festival. Thank you very much for having me here today, and slán go fóill. Thank you.
Adam, for sharing those words and for your partnership. It means the world to us, and that partnership just keeps going from strength to strength, one we're so grateful of. I am so honoured to now introduce Ceól Abú. So Kyola Boo in English stands for Music Forever. And Kyola Boo were formed for Heartsbeat. They're a group of musicians with Irish connections living here in Vancouver that sing Irish traditional music. So we're so grateful. A couple of members of Kyola Boo, Eilish Courtney and Blake Williams, do more than just play for Kyola Boo. They also coordinate our bodhrán workshops. So the bodhrán is the Irish hand drum. And Blake, who is a fantastic bodhrán player, runs workshops in the community for local residents every year along with Eilish. And Eilish, who was working for UBC, and that's how we got connected. And myself and Eilish go back quite a few years now, because we've been running Irish workshops at the Learning Exchange, which is located in the downtown east side, for a number of years. We've had everything from Gaelic football and hurling to learning Irish language. And then, of course, when we hit on music, we knew that we hit on something very, very special. And of course, here we are today, quite a few years later, still on that partnership. So over to Kyola Boo. We are so grateful to all of you for taking the time to be here with us and being here, part of Heartsbeat for many years. Thanks.
Fáilte everyone. My name is Eilish Courtney, and on behalf, I'm delighted to be here with Ceól Abú, my fellow musicians here. I'd like to introduce them to you. Rick is on flute, Jenny on concertina, Peter and Denise on fiddle, and Blake and myself on bodhrán. And we really are thrilled to be here on the traditional, ancestral and ceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh. We are really honored to be able to live and work and play music on this wonderful land. We are truly honored to be part of Heartsbeat. We have had a wonderful journey with our friends in Lakshtilum and in the Learning Exchange and the Carnegie Cultural Program, and we're thrilled to be here today. We're going to start off this set. It's going to be some reels, and Rick is going to start us off.
Thank you so much, Kyola Boo. Oh, it just warms my heart every time to hear you play. So it's a surprise giveaway time. Yeah. So we've got some fantastic prizes. I brought some prizes actually back from Ireland. When I was over in Ireland at the summertime, I brought some gifts back. So these gifts come straight from Grafton Street in Dublin. And we've got some wonderful Indigenous gifts as well. So great sets. I do want to ask, I have been watching the chat over with Nick at the booth here, and it's so wonderful to see everybody commenting. We would love to know where you are watching us from. So if you're watching us from here in Vancouver or over in Ireland or elsewhere, please let us know in the chat. And I'll give Nick a little bit of time before we ask the questions. So we do have some prizes. So listen carefully. This is how you win some prizes. Myself and Nicole are going to ask you a question. You can the first person to answer wins a prize for this round. And how you win a prize is, so you obviously get the question right. And then we're going to, Nick, who is at the helm of our chat, is going to contact you and let you know how you get your prize. Okay, so I'm going to go grab a set and let's see what's prize number one. Okay, so for the first prize, we have, so this is all just one prize, so you would win this beautiful little book, Irish Legends for Children. It's got some really fantastic stories in there. You also will win a beautiful Aran knitwear headband. And perfect for Vancouver or Ireland is a beautiful West Wild Coast Raven design from Kelly Robinson rain hat. So all those three are one prize, and the question is, what does Ceól Abú mean? And I said it earlier. What does Ceól Abú, which is Irish, mean in English? Okay, Nick, you Nick, you let me know if answers are coming in. Oh, there is a 10-second delay. Okay, sorry for the pause. All right, the next prize, so we have another beautiful hat. This is in a black color. This is let me see, Raven design again by Kelly Robinson. We also have this like fun little packet of shamrock seeds to win. And then this beautiful t-shirt. This beautiful with the Celtic knot design to win. Okay, so the question, I'm going to just put this down because this is, oh, sorry, I should be looking at that camera. This is quite crinkly. So the question is, how many years has Heartsbeat been running for? So how old is Heartsbeat? Okay. We've got some answers here in the audience. Okay, and we have one more. Okay, so the last prize, and don't worry, there is tons of prizes throughout the show. So as Nicole was saying, stick around because there's tons of prizes. So for this prize, we've got some shamrock seeds, and then we also have this very cute little pair of socks with rain clouds and sunshine and all the seasons of the Irish weather, which when I was home in the summertime, I had forgotten that that happens, that it will torrentially rain and it will be boiling hot at the same time. So there are socks and a hat and shamrock seeds to be won. And the question is, what is the address of the Carnegie Community Centre? So we're broadcasting live today from the Carnegie Community Centre in Vancouver. What is the address? Okay, they are the prizes. So the first person to answer those, Nick will give you instructions. Okay, I'm just going to check what's next on our lineup. Okay, so Nicole is going to introduce John Sam. John Sam has been involved in Heartsbeat for many years. Over to you, Nicole.
Susie? How's everybody doing? I hope everyone's been enjoying this event so far. I can't believe the time is already going by so quick. Today, we're very, very lucky to have an opportunity for you all to view John Sam and Love Medicine. John is from the Yukon, and he has been part of the cultural sharing Indigenous programs at the Carnegie for many years. And he has brought his big drum here on Monday nights for people to learn on the drum and to sing. And it's been so culturally warming for people to be able to connect through the drum and through song. John is not with us today, but we have a recording, which is just as good. So we're going to be able to share with you some wonderful music of John and Love Medicine. Take it away, Kimit.
Yeah. You want to go again?
John, how love medicine for sharing your music with all of us. Pretty special moments. I hope everyone was able to enjoy that wherever you have been watching from. I connected with Nick and he said there's people watching from all over the world. So pretty cool. So glad to see that we have an amazing positive spotlight on all of our community here in the downtown east side of Vancouver. So I will share with you, my name is Nicole Bird, and I work here at the Carnegie Community Centre. I support the Indigenous programs, I help coordinate, I also help bring to life all of our community members and how they're able to share so many of their artistic abilities and strengths, and they're able to share that with other people in our community. We also are very, very fortunate here at the Carnegie Community Centre. We have our very own elder in residence, Elder Les Nelson, and
We were the first place in all of the City of Vancouver organization to have our own elder in residence, which is pretty cool. We also have a matriarch who also supports our building, and that is Elder Margevo, and she's pretty awesome too. She's right over there. She actually helped coordinate all of these beautiful Irish Indigenous pins to celebrate Heartsbeats today. And she made a lot of cedar roses to go into the middle of the pins. So all of our performers and our special guests have been honored with these beautiful pins today. Now, I'm very excited to share with all of you the Vancouver Urban Haida Drummers. They are going to share some of the culture and song about Haida Gwaii. Haida Gwaii is very far in the northwest area of British Columbia, and I'm also very lucky that I am Haida also. So I'm excited to share with you some of the songs that mean a lot to me and to my family. So, the Haida Drummers.
So, I'd like to say thank you for inviting our group to be a part of this celebration. My name is Wad Gadagung. I'm from the Slunglanis clan of Haida Gwaii in Old Masset. My mother to the right of me, her Haida name is Gulkit Jad. And my cousin here, Roger, he's in another clan. He's in our sister clan from the Chatlanis. We're invited because we shared our culture quite well with our Irish people, and I've been hearing these great songs and hearing the stories about how they came over to this world. I say it that way because to us it was the way our people lived and survived for our entire lives. But I was just hearing a young lady talk about when she was back home in Dublin on the weather, and I can tell you right now from experience, it's the same in Haida Gwaii. We get 5 days of sun out of the whole entire year. Every other day is raining. As of right now, we're going through storms. I was just back home myself with my mother and I. We did some clan housekeeping, I guess you'd say. And what I'd like to elaborate on is our clan dynamics is so paralleled to your cultural distinctions. The only difference that we have that compares ours to yours is the art form. But it's so uniquely paralleled by our matriarchs, how our clans are held. The only difference is our clan mothers reign supreme. So a hereditary chief has certain kinds of powers, but he's just a representative of our people. He really has nothing to say aside from what his people tell him to. My mother and I are also hereditary chiefs in waiting. We've been waiting for our positions. As it turns out, I've been looking towards the Irish people actually to look towards how they do their cultural distinctions, because those are passage of rights that our cultural groups have slowly lost and forgotten. I'm 40 years old now, and I started learning my culture maybe by the time I was 35. So this is really 5 years old to me, and I feel so proud that my mother and my cousin and my other cousin are here to help represent us and represent who we are and where we're from, and to share the same land with you people as well, because we are also visitors here. Our Haida people, we have names for all of these places down across the Pacific. In fact, Vancouver we had a name for, and we have called it Tagwan. So when we introduce ourselves, I usually say Tagwan Haida Losses, because that's who we are. We're from Vancouver. If we were in Haida Gwaii, then I'd say Kal Hilt Age, Slinglanis, Wat Gadagung. That means I'm in my clan of where I'm from my territory. Usually in this kind of setting, we would do our potlatch entry, but because it's fast-tracked due to the times, as well as COVID, I'm really proud that everybody's feeling healthy, and for traveling back and forth from Ireland to Canada is quite an extraordinary thing. So thank you for being very safe and taking your time to be safe. I have little ones myself that practice with us, and these are songs that we all learn together. So I'm going to sing 5 songs with our group. The first song we sing is a prayer song, and it's called the Haida Spirit Song. This song has no origin. It's thousands of years old. When we were taught it when we were young people, they can't place an origin. Sometimes the native tongue in our language has lost itself, and we're trying to pick up pieces. We have learned some of our language. My cousin's learning her language now, and I'm very proud of her. I'm slowly working on it myself, but you know, for us to do that is quite a challenge, and I'm very proud of yourselves as Irish people and other cultural groups that hold their culture strong. Asian people, very proud of you that you got your language very strong. Indian people, same thing. East Indian people, thank you. You know, these are good representations of how strong we can be and what kind of cultural distinctions we can create for ourselves. It's not just about those visions, it's about everybody. So with that being said, I'd like to sing this prayer song. It's called the Haida Spirit song. This is from Old Masset. The second song, because we're going to carry it right into the second song right away. Usually in this time, it'll take me some time to transfer my regalia to another set. I have to wear my chief's regalia now in order for me to transfer over to that next set. The only thing I feel bad is I didn't want to bring my frontlet home or here because it's very hard to bring that kind of masterpiece to a place like this. I know it's the East Side. I grew up here myself, but I'm very proud to show our colors and show us who we are. So that being said, we'll sing these two songs and then I'll come back and I'll talk some more. Paula, thank you. That first song that we sung is usually a song that we sing to our people that have passed into the spirit world. In our culture, we believe there's 4 levels of death. As your spirit leaves your body, it takes 4 levels for that spirit to get to its realm of where it needs to be. That's why it takes sometimes a year for our coastal people to mourn us. We'll cut our hair, we'll put our tools down, our instruments, and we'll take a break for a year. I speak about that because we've had a close family friend of ours that passed away recently. And there's been a lot of people that have passed on. COVID. You know, we are in the east side. Drugs, substance, and such. Why I'm saying this is because it's important to us to uplift ourselves, to tell ourselves that we're beautiful and we respect each other. I was taught, if you don't respect your own culture, you can't respect anybody else or anyone else. The second song that we sung is out of respect. That chief song was given to us by the people in Port Simpson, Chimshan, or Haida. How that song was given to us is one of the chief's sons was fishing for halibut in the Dixon entrance. We used to call it the Haida Sea. And that son his boat went capsized, and one of the Haida chiefs had found him adrift while he was out seal hunting. The young man told him where he was from, and because Haida spoke many languages, not just Haida, he spoke Chinook, Tlingit, Chimshan, Niska, some parts of Yucatan, some parts of Kamatsa, Siberia, where people traveled the world. Just so happens now science is catching up to our oral stories. Hence, with the Irish people, their oral stories are vast. You know, they talk about many spiritual things and animals and people. Man, the red hair is what gets me going, I tell you. Because in our Haida culture, red hair is a signified distinction of power. Our people, when Juan Perez came and seen Haida Gwaii in 1776, his description of the Haida people was so pure. They were 6'6", pale-skinned, blue eyes, green eyes, and red hair, like sea urchin red. The body structure was built like a bodybuilder, is what you would call nowadays. I just recently went home myself with my mother. And the first thing my Goggy told me, which is my uncle, we call him Goggy, he says, "You gotta go jump in that ocean." I was like, "Man, it's October." He's like, "Real warriors jump in the water. It doesn't matter what time of the year." So he taught me how to be a Haida warrior. Hereditary chief in waiting is a big responsibility, but it also takes a lifetime of knowledge to understand what is the responsibility. I'm proud that our people can help us, and I'm proud that you can witness to us, right? In our culture, a lot of people have questions, but this is an opportunity that not very many people get to have, is learning and hearing us from the horse's mouth, I guess you'd say. We don't live in teepees. We live in longhouses. We're masters of cedar. In fact, some of our pieces that we have are so powerful, the words cannot express. We don't have a word in Haida that's extraordinary or beautiful. Like, we have beautiful, but not extraordinary. We don't have slang. So, the next song I want to get, my cousin's favorite song, I know he loves this song. It's called Greeting the Day. We want to sing this song because as much pain is out there, we also want to uplift our spirits too. We want to make people happy, we want them to smile. Right? I like the history, but it's the balance that we have to uphold too. There's a lot of negative, you got to rescind with positive. So, that being said, I want to get my cousin to kickstart this song, because it's one of our favorites. Sorry, we were cross-talking there. We got so many songs in the back of our head from potlatch times, and when we put our regalia on, there's certain songs that our regalia and our pieces tell us to sing because of what we're wearing. So my cousin here is asking, he's like, "How does it go again?" I was like, "Oh man, So we're going to start trying to sing another song. Once one song comes out, I'll tell you it is while we started. We can do the woman song? Yeah. Okay, we'll do the woman song. Okay? Mom, if you want to dance. Okay, so I'll dance for the women so that way you guys can see how the women dance. Don't you worry. So just so we are aware, there's a couple of slang things. I know I said there's no slang, but in Haida culture for potlatching, the women have a couple things they can do when this song comes on. The first one is, if you're single, you can dance like this, with the one up here. In the potlatch, when you have hundreds of people watching, there'll be snaggers around. Now, if you are taken, then the hand goes back to your hips, and you just dance, okay? Now, I know for the LGBTQ it's a little different, but depending on what side you pick, his or hers, would determine which way you would dance. In potlatch, there's no such thing as a wrong thing. We also let our little people run around. We have a whipping person like they do in powwows, but they also have staffs on the corners of our latches. So when you hear that stop, the kids go back to their spot. And now I'm ready to hear my song. Ready? Let's have a light heart. We sing that song. Okay. We're gonna sing. I know we were just talking about this woman song, but we have something in our minds right now because of the. It's called "Have a Light Heart." We're gonna sing that woman song, but I want to sing this first. Okay. That's really good now. Did you get that? Okay, we'll do the men's then. Well, I'm gonna take my blanket off now because I'm getting hot. In potlatch times, it was usually in the winter times, just so your people are aware, we rarely potlatch in the spring or summer. In our culture of Haida, we had harvesting times where our men and women would literally take turns of what they're harvesting. So in the spring and the summer, we'd always be harvesting. The women would be out doing their thing for berry picking and such. And the men would be out fishing or hunting, right? That being said, when the men would come back, you know, their egos would get all puffy, you know, and then spring would come over, and then summer, and then everybody's getting all, ooh, yeah. So they'd be talking up and down the villages all across Haida Gwaii. And then, yes, they went to Kagani Haidas in Alaska, and then, yes, they went to Rupert. So when they came back, there's all the talk in the island, and then they came up with this song. This is called a men's competition song. In this song, the men usually would get as low as they can to the ground. I'm just joking. Give me a second. They get as low as they can to the ground, and literally the lower they got, all the women's eyes. You remember when I was telling you about the women doing the one? Yeah. So those women are watching the single men that are getting really low. Literally, when they dance, it looks like they're flowing and they should be floating. But how this song came about is all the nonsense talk from up and down the island. But when the men were taught how to do this, the elders would take them to the ocean. And the ocean would teach them how. If you've been to Haida Gwaii, you know how big these waves are. And they'd get you to go out deeper. Water would hit you in the legs. And then you come up to your waist, to the point where it's starting to get deeper. To the point where you start putting your hands up and walking. So when you see Haidas dance, it literally looks like they're walking the waves, because in our culture, in fact, my name, Wad Gadagam, is a spiritual name. His name is Master Carpenter, and he was the one who fought the southeast wind and created the very first Fu, which is our war canoe. And he also helped build the very first longhouse in one night. So these spiritual beings had a place. Now that we're given those names, it's kind of hard to live up to them on how extraordinary they were. So when I can reflect and articulate some of the dances that were given to us, I really have to encapsulate myself 300 years ago dancing with no iPods, no Bluetooth. You know what I mean? So all you heard was nature. So whenever we get lost in ourselves, and I love this about Ireland, because their nature is so close to how ours is. The only difference is our trees are different, right? In the art, but the clan dynamics are the same. So I don't know how the Irish do it, because I heard a good sport that I love watching. It's called hurling. My goodness. I don't know if they could play lacrosse. It'd be a good... So we're going to sing this song because this is how all the trash talking from up down the islands, this is when everybody brings their kids, their uncles, their aunties, their whole family, and this is where they can show off, right? I'm 40. I've danced a lot of my life. I'm tired. So if I do end up getting up to come sing with my family, that's because of that. For the most part, I'm going to give you a little heads up. The world record for our clans who've done this is 1 hour and 39 minutes. And he had beaten his uncle. And the uncle is no younger than me. So if the nephew's in his 20s and he can rock his uncle, 1.5 hours is a long time to do this. So I'm going to give you an idea of how low and how high you can get. Okay? So, yeah, I'm a little tired. But this tells me, you know, how strong our old people used to be. And I'm not saying just here in Canada, I'm saying everywhere. Technology's evolved so fast. We don't wear what we used to anymore. I don't know about you, but this is like wearing a backpack on your body. And so when I can put on my regalia and dance and show my pride, as well as the help from my instruments that I have with my people, you know, that gives me the balance that I need to sustain our culture. With that balance comes our people that are knowledge keepers and that are holding us up in a place that needs to be. I'm saying this because I want my mom to sing a song that she's been learning Haida songs with us. And I'm so proud of her now that she can get confidence to sing these songs. She grew up in a time where residential schools was a very big thing. She is a survivor of that, as well as 60 Scoop. You know, this is why I jumped into my culture, so I could share that pride with her and show the beauty and the things that I can learn and help her with. Because when she was a little girl, she could speak Haida. And when I first was born, I grew up in East Van my whole life, man. I didn't know about nothing, you know? So this is my chance I can hold my mom up, because it's so proud when you get to sing a song in front of people, as well as talk in front of people. You know, this is what I like doing and holding each other up. So, well, what song would you like to sing?
I just want to say hello. My name is Ceól Abú, which means Golden Spruce Woman. I'm also from the Slinglanas, through my Nani Owie Agnes and Steekta Robert Williams, the Eagle side. And this is my niece, Nicole, that was bestowed. She will carry my name. That's my grandmother's name, Nani Owie Agnes Williams. So my niece is the oldest living daughter, and that's my second oldest sister daughter here, who was also murdered on the downtown east side. Nicole is a very private person when it comes to talking about family and that. I'm the opposite. She always tells me, Andy, you're out of control. So, but I had the opportunity to do, I want to acknowledge my auntie Savannah over here too, and all the elders here, for allowing us to do this work here, and to our Irish family, that we could share this song. When I was in Haida, I had the opportunity, I know many of you have probably heard that the golden spruce heck was cut down. That is the territory of my grandmother's in Yakun, where I had the opportunity. Believe it or not, I've never sang to a tree. This is a feather song that we use while we sing, and I had that opportunity to sing to that tree because that is who I am, is named after and is passed on to my niece here now, is the golden spruce. And so that was one of the really emotional journey for me to go to see and to walk that area in the land of our ancestors. And there's many stories that have been told to us about the Irish people and that. And like my son said, you know, we run very parallel, your culture and your customs and that. So I've asked for no drums for this one. I'm going to try to sing it a cappella, so please don't throw anything at me or wait till later. But it's called a feather song. This is like a journey song. It's a journey song for all of you, safe travels home. Also to acknowledge the people in the downtown east side, the ones that are still suffering, the ones that are still struggling, and also to be mindful of the ones that are in the hospital. And our relative, Lillian Howard, just passed away the other day, and it's very devastating time for a lot of us, and that just to remember so many that have gone home. It was, somebody made a comment the other day that the angels, or the Creator, heck, is, you know, really needing these angels back home. And I'm thinking, like, well, you know, that's a really tough way to go, you know, to absorb it. But I would like to do this song for you that I also sang in Haida when we seen the area of where the Golden Spruce was cut down. But this is like a traveling song in that. Way I hey yo, whoa, way hey, way, way, way way hey yo.
So, usually in our setting, we don't really say goodbye because we don't believe in goodbyes. We believe that your spirit is infinite. In our potlatch realm, we would sing as we'd leave. So I'm actually wanting to sing one song as we're leaving, because this is the way our culture has been designed, and I would be damned if I'm going to appropriate our own. Regardless of the broadcasting, unfortunately, this is just how our culture is. Okay?
Well, that was incredible. Thank you so much, Haida Drummers, for your words and your stories. This is why we do Heartsbeat, to learn about those parallels and to learn about those shared traditions. And every time that we do this event, we learn new stories and new journeys between our two cultures. So thank you so much. It reminds me of a conversation with a dear friend of mine who's from the Nisga'a Nation, and was like, you don't know yourself until you know yourself in your own language. And listening to that inspires me to learn my own language. I think there's a couple of Irish speakers in the audience here, but I'm certainly not one of those. And it's definitely a desire of mine to learn my own language, and that inspires me. Okay, folks, we are on to our next performer, who is joining us through a recording, but from Ireland. Alton O'Brien is a fiddle player, violist and composer, active in the worlds of performance, composition and education, hailing from County Clare, which is on the west coast of Ireland. Alton records, performs and tours traditional and contemporary Irish music as a soloist and with a number of groups, including the Irish-Finnish folk group Slow Moving Clouds and the Irish folk band Skipper's Alley. So here, over to Alton.
Hi, I'm Alton O'Brien, and I must say now it's delightful to be playing for this event. I'm going to be playing this, the big fiddle and the viola today, instead of the more normal fiddle. But I wanted to play this air that recently I set to fiddle. I was always encouraged when I was younger to learn directly from singers in their tradition, and I got this air, Óra an Oceanica, from a Scottish singer called Mary Ann Kennedy, and it tells a fantastic story, but of course you don't get any of the words on the fiddle. But it is a kind of imaginary conversation between this poet and sailor, Ian MacDonald, and the Ciannacha, which means merchant in Irish and in Scots Gaelic. But it refers, in this case, to a rock off the Glendale coastline there in Scotland. So it's this conversation that he's having, because he used to know the land when he was younger. He grew up there, Ian MacDonald did, and then was off travelling for years. So he has this conversation where he's saying, which basically, like, look at the state of me. I'm old now and I've lost my shape, I've lost my voice, I've gotten old. And the rock is still there, as tall and strong as everything. It's like the edge of the cliff. And the cliff starts saying back to him, I might be tall and strong still, but there are these thieves that keep coming to me. I'm not sure if they're aware, but my cargo fertilises their soil. And he said, but they come along and take far too much and never replenish it. He said, little do they know, if I were to go, I'd leave an earthquake by their firesides. So in many ways, it's probably one of the first environmental songs in the tradition. But I'm going to follow it then with a lovely little hornpipe that I used to play a lot when I was younger. Well, I still play it. But when I was learning, this is one of the first tunes probably I learned, Cashlán an Ór, and then a reel called The Road to Monolí. I've still never been to Monolí. I'm not even sure where it is. Okay, here's the air. person someday.
How Alton, for sharing your beautiful music with us here today, all the way from Ireland. What a treat. I could see some of the toes tapping in the theater here, and I'm sure there was lots tapping at home too. How Alton. Now, before we continue, I just would like to introduce Gilles Serene. Gilles is the president of the Carnegie Community Centre Association board. They are really one of the greatest supporters of this event today, and it's our pleasure to have Gilles join us.
Okay. Thank you so much, Nicole. Being the president of the Carnegie Community Centre Association is just such an honor and such a privilege in serving this community. And this is a community unlike any other. And I grew up in a small French-Canadian town in southwest Saskatchewan, and it's been quite a journey between here and there. And this is quite different. One of the things that I really totally appreciate about Carnegie and this community is just the truly, truly multicultural, accepting, embracing of different cultures. I just love getting on the bus and seeing people from every nation, hearing different languages, and everybody talks to everybody on the bus. That doesn't happen on the west side. You know, I rarely get on the bus around here that I don't get into a conversation with someone. Sometimes I start it, sometimes they do, and it's wonderful. One of the ways in which how the association works with Carnegie Community Centre is because we're a nonprofit, we're able to get grants to help support many, many, many programs. And the great thing about Carnegie and Carnegie's staff is that most nonprofits have to hire managers to run their programs. However, we can get the money and city staff helps run the programs, which really saves us a lot of money. Thank you to the City of Vancouver, and thank you to the City of Vancouver and city staff for this facility and for all the great people that are here. Just wanted to say one more thing about storytelling. And my favorite storyteller, novelist, is James Joyce, who of course everybody knows is Irish. And the only novel I've ever read at least 5 or 6 times is Portrait of the Artist as a young man. And that's been an inspiration to me for a lot of my life. So thank you to Ireland. Thank you to all my Indigenous brothers and sisters. And love you all. Thank you.
For your beautiful words. The next person I'd like to introduce to you is Sharon Belay. She is the director of the Carnegie Community Centre. She is a great supporter of all the Indigenous programs and especially the Heart of the City Festival. Sharon, how
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It is such a pleasure and my honor to welcome all of you to the Carnegie Community Centre and to another wonderful festival event from the Heart of the City Festival. I'm going to draw upon Gilles' words around poetry and conversation. What you're going to hear today and what you have been listening to all day is poetry in motion. It is where music joins people, where culture joins people, and there is no boundaries between us. It's such a wonderful event. I love both the drumming and the footwork. It's just an enormous pleasure. I can't wait to go online and watch it. Perhaps next year we'll all be able to be in person, but until then, thank you for being with us. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, UBC Learning Exchange, and all of the wonderful people in the audience. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you.
How Sharon, thank you for your beautiful words. Now, this is a bit of a time for us just to take a break, take some deep breaths, and get ready for some music and playing that we're going to be doing soon. But we would like to just have you all join us in welcoming Savannah Walling, who is the president of the Heart of the City Vancouver Moving Theatre. Savannah, please come join us.
Thank you so very much. I'm really delighted to welcome everyone to this 18th annual Downtown Eastside Heart of the City Festival, where we stand on these ancestral homelands of the Squamish, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Musqueam. My name is Savannah Walling, and I'm the Artistic Director of Vancouver Moving Theatre and the Associate Artistic Director of the Downtown Eastside Heart of the City Festival. I've lived and worked here in the Downtown Eastside for 45 years now. It's where I raised my son, and it's where Vancouver Moving Theatre was founded just about 40 years ago. I'd like to just also to share that I'm an immigrant to Canada, And my family, I'm also an 11th and 12th generation descendant of refugees and settlers who came from Europe, some of them coming from Northern Ireland. And then the family went down through the Appalachian Mountains and down into Oklahoma, Texas, before coming up through California during the Vietnam War here into this country and this community where I also have found refuge. I would also like to add that I carry the name of lexwst'í, and in Haida, this means supporter of all things. And I was adopted into the Sling Lannis clan of the Haida family, Haida Nation, by Bernie Scoondel Williams. So this interweaving of the traditions of what we carry and what we meet in this land have been really meaningful. We've been hugely inspired here at the heart of the City Festival by the Heartsbeat, which was one of the highlights of last year's festival. And it's such an example of the kind of stories we do need to hear, this story of the flowering of 4 years of intercultural learning, sharing, and relationship building between the Carnegie Community Cultural Sharing Program, Lakshtilum drummers, and by the Irish singers and dancers of the city. So thank you so much for this courageous, necessary, and beautiful work that you are sharing with us all.
Thank you, Savannah. Thank you for your words, and thank you for putting on such an incredible festival. The Learning Exchange, and I know that the Indigenous programs at the Carnegie have been part of the festival for many, many years, even outside of Heartsbeat. I know at the Learning Exchange, we've had some really fun open mic nights as part of Heart of the City Festival. So it's such an incredible festival. The lineup is extraordinary. The talent in the downtown east side is off the charts. Artists, singers, songwriters, musicians, poets. It's just such an honor to be in that energy and in that vibe in this community. I hope that you are enjoying Heartsbeat. We are loving all the different musicians and artists and the stories that are coming up. It's just really incredible. We have a wonderful Travis who's going to be sharing some stories with us, and I'm going to let Nicole introduce him. But in the meantime, just let us know how you're enjoying Heartsbeat. Let us give Nick some work here and as he monitors the chat, and let us know if you've got any questions. We'd also love to hear from you. If you've got any questions about who you're seeing today, about Heartsbeat in general, about the Learning Exchange, about the Downtown East Side, about the Indigenous programs at the Carnegie Community Centre, we're happy to answer them. So please ask away. Okay, over to you, Nicole.
How Susie? How We are very lucky today. We have a very special person with us from the Nisga'a Nation, Nismu, and they will be sharing with us some wonderful stories and songs. And this is an opportunity for us again to learn more about all the different nations within British Columbia. And also for our folks across from Ireland, it's an opportunity to learn more about the different nations within Turtle Island. How Nismu for being with us today. I look forward to your sharing.
He Simgiya, Sigidam Hana, Kanak Scuba Wilksit, Nis Mushwa, Vancouver, Nishka Nation, Dewitwe, Vancouver, Jagai. My name is Travis Angus. My hereditary name is Nias Mew. I come from the nation of the Nisga'a Nation, from the village of Gingolith. I belong to the Wolf clan and to the house of Nias Lysian. I've lived in Vancouver for about 30 years on and off, and have continued to live my life through the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations, who I continuously thank every day for being here. Today I wanted to talk to you about, the first song that I came in with was our peace song. It's a Nisga'a peace song. And when the peace song came in, it was the down ceremony that was filled with it. So you'd hear the song, as slow as it sounded. During the war times, our people would separate the war from the people that were feuding with each other. And when the peace song came out, down feather was spread throughout the grounds, the war grounds. So as down has been spread out through the war grounds. It symbolized that the people were here in peace, that we broke apart to create a space for our loved ones to be collected by our families and be taken away. This peace song can end up between a ceremony that would end up in 3 minutes to 3 days to 3 weeks. So that was, so anytime that you see down being spread out through our territories, is this, we're a sign here. We're here in peace. So that was Gawagani as our peace song. I wanted to talk to you today about the process of, the process of the button blanket. And I brought my history of my button blankets here. In our families, in our culture, in the Nisga'a Nation, it's the father's side of the family, my dad's side of the family. Their first duties to me as I was being born, literally being born, is to catch me. And their first duty is to catch me with a blanket. So as a child, your first response from your family, your dad's side of the family, is to be blanketed by a baby blanket made by your grandmothers or whoever it's made by that side of the family. This shows that they have a lot of rights to take care of you as you grow and become an adult. So at birth, this is where your blanketing starts, is by the catching of the, when you reach adolescence, after you've gone through a childhood, you go through a tunic, apron, and then you get older as an adult. So once you reach to a certain age of maturity, then you're blanketed with a blank blanket. So you're blanketed with a plain blanket. Red symbolizes for the female, and then the male is the black. So your second blanket of your life would end up being a blanket that has no design, no button work, or anything on it. This is where you start to tell your life story. This is where you start to incorporate everything into your life. It's up to your dad's side of the family to create this blanket for you. They're the ones that put it on you to start that part of your life. So, and it's your dad's side of the family that will put the crest on it when they feel you're ready for it. And it's usually around your house, around the time that your house takes a feast, that they will bring this blanket forward, and you will take your name or strengthen your name. So going through any part of your adult life, becoming a different part of my life is learning my culture and becoming a dancer and a drummer in my culture, in my language. I created a blanket that, from the Wolf Clan, but I created a blanket that I was able to use in that part of my life, which was our dance blanket, or a blanket that I used as a drummer and a singer to our songs. Most of the times, and this is what a lot of people, most of the times when you're worn a blanket, it's a hereditary chief that would wear a blanket, that has many buttons to represent who he is and to represent where he comes from and the amount of life that he has brought into these people. So during our lifetime, after those earlier parts of my life, I created a life blanket, which would tell the story of where I come from, my dad's side of the family, my mom's side, and the siblings, my children. So I have a headdress of a wolf, which represents my mom, and the human face represents my dad. My dad's an eagle of the eagle clan, and then 9 wolf heads on the outside. 4 wolf heads representing my sibling my siblings, my 2 sisters, my brother, myself, and 5 grandchildren. So we created this blanket to tell that story of my family and where I come from. You look at the designs, the button work, and everything. There was at the time over 2,000 buttons that I'd hand stitched on here to create this blanket. It tells my dad's, it holds my dad's, myself, and my entire family on this blanket. You'll notice that buttons are missing on this blanket. I created blankets for nieces, nephews, and grandchildren that came after that. So in order for me to start them off on their blankets or their regalia was to take off mine, so that they would be able to tell the story that that button came from me and that button work came from my people. So that's the family blanket. Different parts of the times of your life, you have different winter regalia. You have the stuff that we wore during the winter time, or we had furs and everything else, the different parts of the year, whether it be summer, spring, or winter. So I created a blanket that I could dance in that was my winter blanket. But this one was of the 2 wolf heads representing my mom, my dad, and it had grizzly bear paws, the right side of a grizzly bear walking on my left side, and the left side of a grizzly bear walking on my right side, represented my 2 grandmothers that walked with me in my life. And with the life that I'd lived, I was grateful to have my ancestors walking with me and to know that and to appreciate that in my heart, that that's where they were. So a blanket that I created was this thing. So next in my life, I'm 2-spirit. I accept both spirits in my life, and within that part of my life, I created another blanket that would tell that part of my story. My tribe, the animal that came to me at the time was a hummingbird. The hummingbird is one of the smallest, tiniest animals that works the hardest to be able to survive, to be able to get anywhere. It works the absolute hardest. So the hummingbird that I created, and in my 2-spirit family living here in Vancouver, I adopted 18 2-spirit children. They're older, they were adults, but I adopted them to give them a family name, taking the name Niesmu, and then being able to belong to a part of a family. So I created that type of family within our cultures and traditions. But given that we've lived in Vancouver and I'm from the coast, and having to, a lot of my children that I adopt are from back east, so I wanted to create a blanket that incorporated the West Coast and the prairies on the same blanket, which created a ribbon blanket. So you look at within your life, your lifetime, every time that you bring out a blanket, it tells the story of where you've been. If I were to walk around today, as many of you would walk around with many layers of blankets in your life and not realizing that we actually do carry many of those blankets. But when you look at your life and where everything that you've gone to in your life, you have the ability to go back to and always, always, always remember where you came from. Always remember where you came from, your childhood. Remember your family that you came from, the innocence you come from. Being able to hold this entire world up in layers of blankets is to be able to allow yourself to go back in time and to find a place where you've been, to be your most strongest person you are going forward. We do this in everything, in our careers, we do this in our lives. We don't realize that we hold all of these certificates, all these things that bring us to life, whether it's families, marriage, babies. Those are different types of blankets that are incorporated into your life. This is a story that is being told by you, a legacy that is being built by you. But with that ability to go back and look into your life plan, go back and always remember where you came from. Because that is your strongest point of where you are and your heritage. That is where all of your history is and where that you belong. So that is the history of the birth. When you're born, that's the first blanket that you have. When you die, what happens, my dad's side of the family, who have blanketed me throughout my life, will come to me and they will take my blanket off my casket and they will remove my name. That is their job, birth to death. So I don't know how much we are in time, but I'm gonna share a couple more songs. I do like to sing the anthem the anthem through here because I'm honored to be here on the Tsleil-Waututh and Squamish Musqueam lands, but I'm more honored to be able to share one of their anthems, their prayer songs, written by the George family and was asked by the nations to use as their Thank you very much, everybody. Let's go up to you, and really grateful for the opportunity to be here, and grateful to be able to share with you guys, especially in this time of COVID and everything that we've been through. I'm really happy to see all of you here, to be able to share yourselves as much as being allowing us to share with you. I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
Gurmila Mahagut, Travis. That was beautiful. Your voice just goes right in. It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing your stories. Okay, folks, I am thrilled to be joined by my fellow redhead up here. I would like to introduce you to Kathleen Leahy, who's the director of the University of British Columbia's Learning Exchange. Over to you, Kathleen.
Thank you so much, Susie. What a lovely event this is. I have the pleasure of bringing you greetings from the University of British Columbia, and in particular from the UBC Learning Exchange. We are so excited again to be doing this year after year, especially after the pandemic. So I first want to just acknowledge everyone here at the Carnegie and everyone who's online with us today. Thank you for joining us. I understand people are coming to join us today from all over the world, which really is great to hear. So I want to say a few things, which is probably not surprising given I'm of Irish descent. You know, it comes with the territory, a few things to say. First of all, the theme of the Heart of the City Festival this year, stories we need to hear. You know, at UBC, we've been part of the legacy of colonialization. I just need to acknowledge that and also say that we're working really hard to change that. So it's important to bring out the truth about colonization, and it's important to work towards that reconciliation. And so I think part of that work is to bring voice to the stories that have been told for a long time, but not always heard. And so for me today, that's part of the work. And one of the best ways, I think, to bring out those stories that haven't been heard is through arts. It's through cultural sharing. And why do I think that? I think that because it helps us to connect on a deeper level to what we share in common as beings on this earth. And it also encourages to celebrate the important positive differences rather than the fear or be ruled by them. And I think that's something that's really important. So the other thing I wanted to comment on is my own personal connection. I grew up hearing about colonization from my dad, who was a Dubliner who came to Canada in 1947. And if you met him, you would have figured out pretty quickly that he had a lot of trauma. He grew up in Ireland as an orphan. He was at the hands of the Catholic Church. They brought him up. And so the story of his sort of beginnings and what he went through resonate for me from what I've learned about my Indigenous friends here in Canada. And so he developed a pretty intuitive sense of what it meant to be oppressed from systemic oppression. And so he taught me to resist the mindset of racism and colonialization. And I'm a little bit, choked up right now thinking about him. He passed in 2014, so forgive me. He also taught me to embrace people, especially if they had been wronged, and to work towards a more just society. But the connection to this event through him is that he also later in life developed quite a passion for Indigenous arts and culture. He was in Southern Ontario and he was embraced by local Indigenous people there because I think of his willingness to be open as a settler. That combined with his love of music, he was a very good harmonica player, and he also played the clappers and the spoons, which I can't play. If there's somebody here who would like to play them later, I would be pleased to provide that honor. So I have the responsibility of taking care of these. He received them when he was 16, and I've been taking care of them since 2014 and will continue to do that as long as I can until I pass it on to my son. And hopefully he'll learn to play them. So if my dad were alive today, he would be completely taken with Heartsbeat and would feel that there is hope and that cultural sharing does help to address the wrongs of the past and show us what we can be and how we can act going forward. And I want to emphasize the act. So thank you for letting me share that personal connection. My heart really beats today even more loudly, more clearly, more strongly because of everything that everyone in this room has done. So I really want to thank, from the bottom of our hearts, everyone at the Carnegie, especially Elder in Residence, Les Nelson, also Elder and Matriarch in Residence, Mar Dorveau, and Nicole Bird, the coordinator of the Indigenous programs here at the Carnegie, as well as Sharon, who's come back to be the director for a few months. It's great to see her again. And of course, Savannah and Terry and Teresa and everyone at Vancouver Moving Theatre for continuing the legacy of the Heart of the City Festival. And I'm also very grateful to Susie for working so closely with Nicole to helping share their cultures and to share this wider than just the few blocks in the downtown east side, to share it with the whole world. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathleen, for sharing your personal story and your personal connection and your thank yous. Okay, folks, we realize that we're approaching into 2.5 hours here, but there is more. Stick around. It's worth it, I promise. And plus, there's prizes at the very end. So I'm very pleased to introduce you to Philomena Jordan, who, born into a large family on a small farm in the west of Ireland. Philomena grew up in an atmosphere rich in the Gaelic culture and traditions of the Irish countryside. When she came to Turtle Island, she brought with her this rich heritage. Now living in Burnaby, she enjoys entertaining audiences of all ages with her Irish stories, poetry, and spontaneous singing. So over to Philomena, who's done a wonderful recording of a story about a trout. Enjoy.
Hi, everyone, and greetings from Ireland. Yes, I'm here enjoying some time with my siblings, and I want to thank Susie, first of all, for inviting me to be part of Heartsbeat today. And the story I have for you comes from the area very close to the area where I grew up in the west of Ireland. And the story is called The Legend of Kong. And it goes like this. Now, once upon a time, there was a beautiful young woman, and she lived in a castle very close to Loch Cong, the Lake of Cong in County Mayo. And she was to be married to a king's son. But a few days before the wedding, the young man was drowned in the lake. Well, the young woman was beside herself with grief, as you can imagine. And some say that she pined away after him, and others say that the fairies came and took her to a better place. But she was never seen in those parts again. Now, sometime later, a white trout appeared in the lake. And the people didn't know what to think, because a white trout had never been seen before or since. And it was there for many years. It was there beyond the memory of the oldest person in the village. And the people thought that it was a magical trout that was in it, and no hurt nor harm would ever come to it. But then an army of soldiers came and moved into the village and set up camp there. And when they heard about the white trout, they began to laugh and scorn the people for their superstitious beliefs, they said. And one man in particular, well, he said that he was going to catch that white trout and cook it up for his dinner. And sure enough, the very next day, he went down to the lake, and the trout, knowing no fear, took the bait and was caught. And soon the man was back at his house, and the frying pan was out, and the fish was in the frying pan on the fire. When he thought it was cooked on one side, he flipped it over, but there was no sign of cooking on the fish. "Oh, I'll flip it again by and by," he said. But when he went back to turn it again, there was still no sign of cooking on the fish. "Well, that's a strange one," he said, "but I'll flip it again." And he did. But when he went back some time later, there was still no sign of cooking on the fish. "Well, bad luck to me," he said, "but that is a strange fish. But cunning as you are," he said, "I'll have you yet." And he flipped it a few more times, but there was still no sign of the fire on the fish. "Well," he said, "maybe you taste better than you look." And he picked up a fork and a knife, and he plunged the knife into the side of the trout. But as soon as he did, a murdering cry rose up, and before he knew what was happening, the fish had jumped right out of the pan onto the floor. And where it landed, a beautiful woman rose up, all dressed in white, with a gold band around her head and blood streaming out of her arm. "Look," she said, "look where you cut me, you villain." Well, he thought the sight would leave his eyes at this beautiful apparition that appeared before him. "Why didn't you leave me content in the water where I was on duty?" she said. Well, he shook like a leaf and he begged for his life, and he said he was so sorry, he didn't know she was on duty. "I was on duty," she said. "I was waiting for my true love who was coming to me by water. And if he comes while I am away and I miss him, well, I will turn you into a pinkeen, and I will hunt you up and down the rivers of Ireland for evermore." Well, he thought he'd lose his life at the thought of being turned into a pinkeen, that littlest of fish, and he begged for mercy. "Well," she said, "you've got to change your evil ways. You must become a changed man and respect the people's beliefs, or you will regret it. Now," she said, "take me back and put me back where you found me." "Oh, how could I drown such a beautiful woman?" he said. But no sooner were the words out of his mouth than she was gone, and there was the fish on the floor. Well, he ran and he got a clean plate and he put gently put the trout back on the plate, and he ran all the way down to the water in case her true love came. And he slipped it into the water. At first, the water turned red until the stream washed the blood away. And to this day, there is a cut, there is a mark on the side of a trout where it was cut. Well, the man did become a changed man, and he began to see and understand and respect the people's beliefs. And I can tell you now, he never, ever ate fish ever again. In the course of time, he left the army and he moved up into the mountains and became a hermit. And they say that he prayed every day for the soul of the white trout. And that is my story, the legend of Kong. And thank you all for listening.
And earlier, for those that, sorry, 1 second. There we go. So for those that like to know the tunes, earlier on we did some reels, Palmer's Gate, Donald Blue, and Ornette's Trip to Belfast. And I know there's someone out there saying, that's what I thought it was. I couldn't remember the name of it. So you always have to. I didn't earlier on, but we should have given the names of the tunes. So we're going to do a song now. This instrumental traditional music is the core of Irish music, but the other music that is sort of close to our heart and our soul is singing and ballads. Irish people love to sing. Whether they can or not doesn't matter. They love to sing. So we always have ballads as part of our gatherings too. It often starts with a session like this, with musicians coming in and joining in the group, and then we always end up singing songs, and someone will lead the song and we'll all join in. It's very much part of our storytelling too, because we tell stories through those songs. They're often sometimes about, not always about positive things. They're often about negative things, or wars and, issues and things, and strifes and loss. And so, but isn't that part of life? That's what we all share those stories, and it's similar in many cultures. So this song that we've chosen, it's a ballad. It's called Rare Old Times. It's about Dublin, and it's someone reminiscing about the way that where they grew up in the center of the city has changed. And they're reminiscing about what has gone and how the town has now become a much larger city and a little bit less friendly in this person's eyes. So it has a very simple chorus, and I know some people here know it, and I know others out in Zoom land will also know it, and so sing along. It's 4 lines. It goes, the words are ring a rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old times. So we do it 5 or 6 times during the song, so you'll have time to learn it, and please do anyone sing along. Thank you. Raised on songs and stories, heroes of renown, the passing tales and glories that once was Dublin town. The hallowed halls and houses, the haunting children's cry, that once was Dublin city in the rare old times. Ring a rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old times. Well, my name it is Sean Dempsey, as Dublin as can be, born hard and late in Pimlico, in a house that ceased to be. By trade I was a cooper, lost out to redundancy. Like my house that fell to progress, my trade's a memory. And I courted Peggy Dignan, as pretty as you please, a rogue and child of Mary from the rebel liberties. I lost her to a student chap with skin as black as coal. When he took her off to Birmingham, she took away my soul. Ring a rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old times. Well, the years have made me bitter, the gargles dim my brain, For Dublin keeps on changing and nothing stays the same. The pillar and the Met have gone, the Royal long since pulled down, as this grey unyielding concrete makes a city of my town. Well, fare thee well, sweet Anna Liffey. I can no longer stay and watch the new glass cages that spring up along the quay. My mind's too full of memories, too old to hear new chimes. I'm a part of what was Dublin in the rare old times. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old times. Once more. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I remember Dublin city in the rare old times. Thank you.
So much, Eilish and Kyola Boo. That was just beautiful. I actually, you started and I got the old goosebumps. Brought me right home. Okay, we are going to delight you now with some Irish dancing. So we have partnered with the Danaan Irish dancers ever since Heartsbeat started, actually. So they have kindly done a recording for us, so we're going to show that now. Thanks.
How to the Danaan Irish dancers. Makes me want to start dancing. So amazing. I remember a couple of years back we had them here in-house, and it really woke up the room. It was very loud and exciting.
They're sure on stage.
Yes, they were on stage. So we're going to just sing a couple of songs for you. I know we're starting to head on into the time here, but we're glad that you still hung out with us and you're still ready to learn and experience the amazing Lakshtilum. We're going to share a song with you. It's the honor song from Acknowledgments. If you notice, all of Lakshtilum today, we are wearing our orange shirts. This shirt was designed by Shelley Samuels, and it is called Tears for the Children. This year was a monumental year. It's not over, and I'm sure there will still be some findings, acknowledging voices being heard. This started back in June when the Kamloops Residential School, the 215 children, their voices were finally heard. And then it started in effect across Canada. Many other schools were able to receive the validation of the stories that the elders have been sharing for many, many years. So Kamloops have given the opportunity for everyone, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, to learn this song. It's an honor song, so if you're watching from home and you know it, please join and sing along with us. And we will do 4 rounds. Okay, round, start. To Kamloops for sharing that beautiful song with us and for honoring all the children that didn't make it home and to honor the ones that did from the residential schools. across North America. The next song we're going to sing for you is the Women's Warrior Song.
The next song we're singing is the Women's Warrior Song, and it's from the Lillooet Nation, created by Martina Pierre. And this is an honor song that we use every year for February 14th, the Murdered and Missing Women's March. And this is the honor song we use for that. Hey, Yahio, Yahio, hey, Yahio, Yahio, hey, Yahio, hey, Yahio, Yahio, hey, Yahio, Yahio, hey, Yahio. Holla to Martina Pierre for allowing us to be able to share that song. And Lakshtilum actually has a whole bunch of other songs that we would love to share with you, but we are running out of time. Check out the Cultural Sharing Facebook page connected to the Carnegie Community Centre, and you'll be able to see some other videos of these amazing folks here standing before you. Now, we are just going to shift on the stage and give Ceól Abú the stage, and we'll stand to the sides and listen to some of their music.
Yo! That was great. Okay, folks, we are almost there. But Heartsbeat doesn't happen without an enormous crew of people behind the scenes making all of this wonderful stuff happening. So we have a bunch of thank yous, and then we have a couple of prizes to give away. Okay, so we have Chief Bill Williams. Thank you so much. Chief Bill comes to many of these events, and we're so honored that he's here to open our events in a good way. Lakshtilum, of course, Kyola Boo, Vice Consul General Adam Duffy, we at the Haida Drum Group, Alton O'Brien, Savannah, the Danaan Irish dancers, Sharon, Jill, who spoke earlier, Kathleen, John Sam, and Philomena Jordan. Okay, over to you, Nicole. Do you want to take the middle part for the Carnegie?
Sure. Okay. And from the Carnegie, UBC Learning Exchange, and the festival staff, Kimmett, Cindy, Nicole, John, Otto's, from the Carnegie, Dion. Oh no, sorry. From the Carnegie, we have just Luke. Luke, amazing. From the UBC Learning Exchange, Dion, Nick, and Karen.
We have Jack. Thank you for being here. Jack is busily making a documentary actually about the Heartsbeat story, and Teresa, who made our wonderful promo video that you saw at the start. We would also like to thank those that funded Heartsbeat to happen. So the Irish Consulate in Vancouver.
Our good friend Frank Flood.
Great friend. The University of British Columbia Community Engagement Office, and of course the Heart of the City Festival. And
Amazing.
of course, Nicole.
And of course, Susie. I know that everyone would love this event to just keep going on and on. Me and Nicole, we're probably feeling the same. We both have the same name and probably are feeling the same. Now, I know we've got a whole bunch of prizes, and what we're going to probably have to do, because we're getting down on time, is Nick is on the chat. And Nick, have you been getting the prizes through the chat? Yep. Okay. So what we'll have to do then is take people's names in from the chat, and then we'll have to be able to connect with people that way.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah. And we can ask, so we have 3 questions to ask. So we have 3 prizes to give away. And as Nicole said, we'll just enter your name into the chat, and then Nick is going to connect with you to the prize and how to get it. Okay, so we're going to rejig this a little bit. So first question, what day of the year is St. Patrick's Day on? What day does St. Patrick's Day fall on? All right, and the next question. How many years has the Heart of the City Festival been running? We've got some answers here in the audience. Okay, folks, that is the 2 questions. There is some really great prizes here to be won. Enter in your answers. And that is it from us. Thank you so much to everyone for sticking around and for producing this. Garamila Mahagut.
House and Dalon Kingson, we will see you all again. How everyone? How to all of the crew in the room. It's a wrap.